the crypto cycle. It's a famous 4-year pattern we have seen repeat 3 times now. But the big question is this time different? Because despite everything, we still haven't seen that euphoric wave yet. That phase where it almost feels like crypto is never gonna go down. So what's going on right now? Are we about to break this 4-year cycle pattern and extend into something longer? Or is this time just a less exciting version of what we have been seeing? That's what I want to talk about in today's video. Some things that might suggest that this time is actually different, instead of this 4-year cycle pattern we have seen play out 3 times before. So let's get into it. And remember, this is just me sharing my research and thoughts. I of course can't predict the future. First, let's look at where Bitcoin is at the time of recording this video. At the time of recording this video, Bitcoin is sitting around 100k or under that, lower than what most people were expecting it to be at here in Q4 at the end of the cycle. Right now, Bitcoin is starting to break below its 50-day moving average, which is not an ideal situation. So hopefully we're not gonna see candle closes below it by the end of the week, because that is one of the key things from previous cycles that has told us that this cycle is over. So hopefully we can stay above it and get this last rally here in Q4 that we are hoping for. So for now, the 4-year structure is starting to break down a little bit, but again, it depends on the coming weeks and if we continue to see candle closes below the 50-day moving average. But now let's take a step back and forget about this 4-year cycle and look at the market psychology. The key thing here is the euphoria wave. One of the arguments that the cycle is not over is that we haven't seen this euphoric wave yet, which is something we have seen in previous cycles. Basically, in previous cycles, Bitcoin's RSI pushed into the high 90s. And if you don't know about the RSI, basically when it goes above 70, the asset is overbought. And when it goes all the way up to 90, it is extremely overbought. This time we have just gone a little bit into the overbought zone, but nowhere near these 90 levels that we have seen previous times. So what if this cycle is simply longer? What if the euphoric wave is still coming but delayed this time? In the traditional timelines, we should already have topped out. But again, maybe this time we just extend further. So here's where it gets interesting. If we measure from the end of each bear market to the next cycle top, the duration has slightly extended each time. If we take the average of these days that the market has extended each time, that would mean that this cycle should last 1,200 days, give or take a month. So if we apply the same extension again, it will push the next cycle top to around March 2026, not late 2025 like most people were expecting. So while many people believe that 2026 is gonna be a bear market, this theory suggests that we are gonna top in 2026 instead of seeing a bear market. Or basically, we are gonna top out in 2026 and then see the bear market start to begin. It does kind of make sense too. Each cycle needs more liquidity to push higher. So naturally, accumulation phases takes longer as Bitcoin matures. But then again, you could also adjust these timeframes and basically say that the market has already topped out now. This is just another view to look at it. Now let's zoom out to what really drives everything: global liquidity. Right now, liquidity is tight. Government shutdown, drained reserve repos, ongoing QT, all of it is putting pressure on risk assets like crypto. But this setup might be the calm before the storm. Once the shutdown ends, the treasury is expected to spend hundreds of billions. QT will stop and liquidity will start to flow back into the markets. That's when things flip. The dollar weakens, tariffs ease, rate cut begins, banks free up balance sheets, and new crypto regulation. And new crypto regulations could clear the way of institutional adoption. So yeah, it's really about enduring this short-term pain that we are feeling right now, because liquidity will flood back in. And when liquidity goes up, everything goes up. The next thing I wanted to talk about is why has the markets been so boring this time compared to other cycles. The ISM index has been below 50 for a while, signaling economic weakness and tight liquidity. That's one of the big reasons why the crypto market has felt very flat in the past few months. So right now I think we are looking at a short-term bear market kinda, or a extended cycle basically. Both make sense and there is arguments for and against both of them. When you look back at previous cycles where Bitcoin has gone up a lot, QT hasn't really mattered. Basically, QT doesn't kill bull markets, and this cycle has seen QT. But this time we have had no long-scale QE. That's likely why this cycle has been weaker compared to past explosive ones. We have had QT this cycle, but again, if we look at previous cycles, that hasn't really mattered for Bitcoin going up. And I still think it is one of the things that has mattered with the rates. Because if you add in the rates here in 2025, it does make sense why the markets hasn't really been as euphoric like we have seen previous times. In earlier cycles, the rates have been way lower, which is easier conditions for risk assets to thrive. Some analysts, like Benjamin Cohen, basically that this time looks more like 2019 instead of the other post-halving years. Back then, Bitcoin was around $10,000. Today, it's $100,000. When QT ended in 2019, we saw a short bear market. Nothing major before the next rally began. Now QT is set to end on December 1st. We could see a similar pattern, a pullback first, then a major rally once things reset. But not nearly as long of a bear market like we see after a normal post-halving year. If that repeats, we might see a short-term bear market, followed by QE and rate cuts, so we can finally see that final euphoric wave. Again, this is all just theory, but it does line up pretty well with the data. Until Q4 is over, I'm actually sticking with the 4-year cycle pattern. That means I expect the top to be here in 2025. Maybe it's already in, maybe we are gonna see another rally and then put it in. No one can know for sure. All we can do is watch the data, try to be prepared, and of course be patient. Sometimes markets feel slow because it's building energy for the next move. Patience isn't about waiting, it's about preparing while you wait. That's what I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, comment down below what I can do better, and I'll see you guys in the next one.